Sup guys, it's Kosh, and today we are doing beginner's guide for Survival Mars Relaunched. There are a lot of guides for the game already, but this one for the updated version, so it has something new in it. There are multiple guides available for the game already, but this one will be for the new colonies, so you will know how to make it right. There is tutorial in the game as well, but maybe you need a little bit extra, so let's go over it. First thing that you will do, you will select your mission setup. It's important, but not that much crazy. Honestly, here you can, if you want the easy way out, you can go for the easy colonies, like International Mars mission, for example, because it has a lot of funding, a lot of rockets, and a lot of useful stuff for you. So, depending on how hard you want it, you might want to go for different sponsors. Honestly, it doesn't matter that much what you pick. All those bonuses are pretty useful, and of course, playing as Russia or Japan might be a bit harder. What I would advise for the newer players is to get the sponsor that has at least 2 rockets. I played as Terraforming Initiative and I think Europe at some point, and honestly it was pretty okay, but if you get lower than 2 rockets, it will be hard at start because you need to refuel them, and the rockets carry colonies for your base, so you know, it will be harder. And obviously International Mars mission is recommended for first time players. Rockets synthesize fuel. This is very strong. That means that your rockets will actually get fuel automatically when they are on Mars, which is really nice. Like, that will be easy way of playing the game, but honestly you can go as hard as you want and you still won't fail. The game is pretty forgiving. Another difference between the missions that they have different founding faction, and based on the faction that you have available, they might like or not like what you are doing. So yeah, that might be a bit of a difference, but honestly it can be changed later on as well. Then we have the commander profile, pretty much the same stuff. You can get harder and easier playthrough with different of those. It will depend on your playthrough style. Honestly, I prefer the one that will increase the breakthrough tech research speed, futurist. It's very hard, but honestly, I played the CEO before and difference isn't that significant, so it's up to you guys. Pick whatever you like here, it doesn't matter that much. Mystery will affect the special story arc that will be happening while you play the game. Once you complete one, it will be marked as a check mark over here, so it's done, and those can give you pretty good bonuses or can make your life a bit harder. I prefer to play with the random, so I will be surprised when I play the game. Founding faction, you can select the one that you like here. There is a founding faction with your mission sponsor, but you can change it here. And different factions will favor different actions of yours. So for example, Green Mars Coalition really likes of terraforming stuff, so when you make the Mars greener, they will be happy about that. Prosperity for Mars would like to earn money and funding and make Mars better. Enlightenment Initiative will help you, will be happy when you do the research and probably will help with us, and they will be happy with the laws that go with that. We'll talk about that later. I'll go with the random one for now because it doesn't matter. For the rival colonies, it's up to you. Honestly, I find it more fun with them because it feels more natural, but it doesn't really change that much. I feel that they are a bit behind me all the time, but early on they might take some progression from you, so you will have to kind of hurry up a bit if you're playing with the rival colonies. Game rules will allow you to adjust the game settings a bit, so you can turn off the politics if you don't like that, or asteroids and underground, or other game events. Adjust the settings however you wish, and that will actually most of the time make the game easier, because you can start with like 1 million funding and test everything, no disasters, that's way easier as well. But some of those might be harder. For example, hunger, you can't import food from Earth, inflation, price increase over time, but that will make the game more interesting. So for now we won't take them. The colony name, tutorial, and colony logo, let's get some, don't panic, that's what we need right now. Display hints, I advise to leave them on, that will show you the stuff. Now, one of the most important things is setting up your first rocket. Basically, that's what we will arrive with you on the Mars. The basic payload is good enough. Honestly, you don't really need to change it that much. I would say getting more orbital probes would be better option for you. You would like to get 1 RC commander and 1 RC explorer and probably 1 RC transport as well. That would be nice to have. But explorer is a must, I would say. Commander isn't that needed, although it would be nice to have. And transport is good, but it's mostly useful for later game. Early on it's not needed that much. Drone hubs would be nice to have as well, maybe get 1 or 2 of those. And moisture evaporator is not that important early on, I think. Stirling generator, it's a good power. Oh, we have advanced one. This is cool. So it's not really important early on as well, but it's nice power source, which is pretty much free, but it's very expensive. Never take metals, concrete, and food with you early on for sure, because that's way too much. You will need more electronic and other stuff later on, but you can adjust it with other rockets later on. So your first goal will be start getting fuel, so you can get the rockets in and out all the time. For that you will need water. So let's do our first launch. This is important. It's better to get more orbital probes with you, so you will know where you're going. Let's take 6 of those with us, and yeah, we'll take advanced Stirling generator since we have that. You can use the normal one, it doesn't matter that much. Actually, let's compare them. I never tried the advanced one. And maybe a bit more drones. Let's get additional probes, screw that. So that's what we will take right now. You can adjust it however you wish. You will watch the rest of the tutorial and understand what you need. So let's just go with this one. So now you have to select the landing spot, and this is very important, because over here you can land in any random location, but based on the location you will have various threats in the area and various resources. So you can land somewhere. Let's find the area which sucks, which will be hard. Like for example that area, you have very low amount of metals, concrete and water, and high chance of getting dust devils, dust storms and meteors. Different disasters, different threats kind of make different types of playthrough, and you will have to defend yourself from most of them. Honestly, early on, you won't be able to protect yourself from meteors, dust storms, and dust. Actually, you can protect against most of those things. So they will just make your life harder. If you want the pretty tailored playthrough, you can select the pre-located spots. So, for example, this one will be pretty easy. We have very low disaster chance and a high amount of metal, water, and concrete. So we can pick between those. This one is even better. We get meteors from time to time, but they are not that dangerous and can be ignored, and we have pretty good amount of resources here. So for the sake of the tutorial, let's land here. This is one of the best landing spots right now. Moreover, topography is relatively flat. That means we'll have a lot of flat space to build our base and explore. When you have the hills and everything, it will be harder. So let's go with this one. As you learn the game, the next playthrough, you can go for harder area. That's what I usually do, because it's way more fun when you have challenge. But first you need to grab the basics and understand how the game works. Otherwise, yeah, things can go hard. Alright, so this is the interface when you just decide where to land. And this is extremely important, because where you land will be your first base. And you need to make sure that around your first base you have several resources: concrete, metal, and water. Without that, you might be able to survive, but it will be way harder. So for the first playthrough, I advise you guys to find an area where you can get all those resources close to you. So for example, we have this area, the sector G3, being scanned straight away, and they advise us to land there. Before doing that, I advise you guys to use orbital probes to make sure that you'll find deposits nearby. If you are just doing your first playthroughs and you're struggling, I advise you guys to reset the game afterwards, find another area if you don't find what you need. So we have concrete deposit right there already. And when you mouse over the sector, you can see the high chance of specific resources. So you can... Let's pause the game. Basically, you want to pause the game because competitors, other colonists, are doing milestones. We'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, this area on the right from our landing spot required has high chance of water, metals, and research. Let's scout that one. And bam, we have the water deposit over here, which is great. We got milestone achieved for finding the water, which is... There are milestones here. Okay, let's go here right now. Basically, when you finish specific milestone, you get some research points that you can use for research. It's advised to select the research that you want early on. If you don't select anything, they will go for, I think, like engineering first, then robotics, then whatever. So we'll talk about that a bit later. For now, let's just scan the things around us. So we have concrete, now we have water, now we need metal. I think we can get some metal right here. No. There we go. We get the metal deposit right there. And can we get some metals closer to the water? Because it would be nice to build our base next to the research milestone point, waypoint, whatever. That thing. No, we get more concrete here. We get anomaly here. Well, I guess that's it. So we use all our scans, but we managed to find the resources that we need. We have the metals, underground metals. We have concrete deposit. And we have the water. The cool thing that in order to gather water and concrete, you don't need the colonists, but you would need them to harvest the underground metal deposits. Do not worry, on the Mars surface you still have the metal deposits on the top of the area. You can harvest them from the areas that are scouted already, that are explored by the drones or your scouting mechanics. So for now, when we land, we need to make sure that we can land with the area around us covering, well, let's say in our case, concrete and water. That will allow us to actually use both of those. The problem is the access to that crater is coming from the right. Go away. So we won't be able to get access to it through this area, I think. We'll have to extend our reach later on. So for now, we will build our base. Here we'll be able to get concrete and water, eventually anyway. And we will need to build the dome over here later. So the idea is you gotta plan ahead, basically. That's what I wanted to say. You need to make sure that you will be able to plan stuff properly for the future. Otherwise, it will be really hard to build your base. So let's build one right here. Once the rocket lands, you will get all the stuff that you brought with you being moved out, and you need to start building things. Tutorial already explained most of the things, so I'll tell you what you need to do. Basically, your first priority right now is to get fuel to the rocket so you can deliver more stuff in and out. We picked the pretty easy way of playing the game with like 30 million funding, so it's not a problem. Even if you have not enough funding, you can earn it by shipping out the rare metals. We have several resources here, right, that are being used for the game. Concrete and metals have been used for construction, food for the colonies, rare metals have been exported back to Earth for money, and then we have exotic minerals that are special resources for additional crafting and whatsoever. So once you do that, once you land out, you want to build specific stuff. First of all, go to production and build concrete extractor. The idea is that it has to be close to the deposit. It doesn't matter where it faces. Where it faces, it will kind of destroy the ground so you can build there. So I advise you guys to face it away. At first I thought it's important to kind of face it towards the deposit, but it doesn't matter. On the right you can see status of the deposit. I think, I'm not sure, that the grade represents the amount of waste rock it will get. So the higher grade will produce way lower waste rock and it will be easier to maintain. So let's build one here for now. We don't need that waste rock at the point. Yeah, we will do this. Then we need to produce power for our buildings. We have advanced Stirling generator, which is really nice. It has maintenance, but oh, the base production is 40. This is so cool. So we can just place it wherever. It will produce heat around it. Probably we'll need one later for this area. We don't have cold waves in our location, so it doesn't matter. Let's just place it, I don't know, here. And connect the power cable from the building to the power generator. That will allow us to start production. Our RC Explorer has to go scout the anomalies, and you can shift-click on second anomaly to queue stuff up. There are different anomalies. This one, with the key, I think it unlocks the new technologies. Yeah, it should allow us to get the breakthrough technology. The science one will allow us to get research progress that we can settle here in the research tab. And the third one, I don't remember what it does, but basically you need to scout them all, and it doesn't matter what they do because you need them all anyway. Another thing you would like to do straight away is to build the storage universal depot for storage of the stuff. I advise you guys to build storage. Well, you would like to build them at the edge of your, how are the things called? At the edge of your drone hub radius, so they can move the resources there and pick them up as well. For now, our goal will be to get the water from the bottom so we can start producing fuel. So we will build one storage. We'll build one universal depot right here, next to, let's say, concrete area. It doesn't matter that much. And another one at the edge of this area, so we will be able to transport resources between this area and the drone hub later on when we get the water. So once you build the universal depot, the drones will try to help you out to carry the metals, to carry the stuff from your rocket, so it will be empty. Another thing you would like to do at the start is to select the research that you would like to do. So let's talk about the research right now. You get specific amount of research per sol. Sol is 1 day in the game, but really it's more like a year. So sponsor research is everything you have at the start. Then you have outsourcing, which is unlocked through some technologies. Research building, which is unlocked by putting your colonists to work in the research lab, and genius colonists that are colonists with specific traits that will help us with the research. And it's important to figure out, and it's important to get the research doing right. You can totally ignore terraforming and expansion and recon for a while early on, so you don't need that. Focus on something like engineering, robotics, and physics. Biotech will be needed later, and social will be needed later when you will get the colonies in the spot. So for now, let's get the engineering thing queued up and transport queued up, and physics, because we will need those things later on in order to progress with better buildings and being able to produce some stuff. As well, when you just land, you would like to queue up some scouting around you. The thing is, early on, it will take a while to scout the area around you, so there is no need to queue up a lot of things. You queue up something like one thingy, and that will be enough. Later on, you will be able to build, well, not later on, as you progress, you'll be able to build the sensor tower, and the sensor tower will allow you to scan areas around it way faster. So you would like to place it strategically, basically. So you can press Ctrl when you build stuff to see the radius of your construction bots. They can go further than that, so I don't advise you to build outside of this area, because the buildings can't be maintained outside of this area. So I think we'll build one over here so we can scout the northern areas for us. Let's build one and let's connect the cable over there. There we go. And nice. We have this one connected to the power already. The thing with the Stirling generators, you can close them and open them. When they open, they produce way more power, but they require upkeep. When you close them, they produce less power, but they don't require any maintenance. That's free power production for you forever, which is great. So early on, your drones will be busy carrying around the resources, carrying resources from your rocket and everything else. You might want to go with your first drone hub early on as well. So for us, since we want to connect it to the bottom area and get the water, we don't have anything else scouted around, but probably there will be something else on the right. Do we have exotic minerals somewhere? Metals, concrete, metals, research. I'm not even sure if they are kind of shown on the map. Yeah, that will be a surprise for us. We have no idea where they are. We can either wait or build a drone hub straight away. So the thing with the drone hub, we have an additional milestone, that's great. The thing with those drone hubs that they need to have intersecting areas. There are two ways how you can do that. First one, you can build it on the edge of the current area. The area represents how far the drones can travel from the rocket or the drone hub, but this is less effective because you will need way more drone hubs like that. If you want to cover bigger distances, you would like to place it somewhere far away, where they intersect just a little bit, something like this. That will allow you to cover this area that you want and further area out for whatever you need. It might be needed later, you don't really know. It's actually on the edge of the map, so we can build another scouting tower over there as well. Don't forget to connect it to the power, and you can build like that only in case if you have the RC Commander. So RC Commander will allow you, together with the transport, to build in remote areas. When you have prefabs, it's way easier. You don't really need to carry resources. If you don't have the prefabs, you will need to carry the resources for the building far away. So this is way easier way to manage your logistics, because this universal depot will be as intermediate storing area that's been used by two of those hubs, in our case rocket and the hub, and at that storage they will try to store a specific amount of resources that are needed here. So like, let's say 3 of everything basically. That means that this hub can pick up resources from here and carry it to the next storage over here, so they can chain use them somewhat, and that will allow us to use this underground water deposit to get the water to build the fuel for the rocket. So for now, let's just move the RC Commander over here to place the prefab of this drone hub. It will be able to pick up the metal from this universal depot and use it to build the cable over here, while those cables up here will be built by this rocket once it will get a lower load and allow us to kind of progress faster. So there we go. We got concrete extractor working over here already, and it's automated. It doesn't require humans or anything. It's working by default. And the same will be with the water harvester, because how is it? Water extractor, I think, right? Because it doesn't require humans to work, which is pretty cool. The only thing that you need to remember with every building in the game, the maintenance is being required even if the buildings don't work. So it's being maintained after a specific amount of time. So if you build something in advance, that's not really good practice, because the building that you build in advance will still require maintenance, which is really hard to do if you don't have enough resources. Alright, so now we can use this RC commander to build the cables over here from this depot. That should cover all the area around it, so this drone hub will be powered. I forgot about the power, because you get a breakthrough later on that will allow you to build them without the power, which are nice. Another cool thing that you might want to do, not really necessary early on, but you should remember to do it later, is to build a waste rock dumping site. That will allow you to dump waste rock in specific area, which will allow you to properly utilize the mines and extractors. They will produce the normal stuff, the resources, but they will also produce the waste rock that has to be moved out by the drones. Usually they will just drop it around the building, which is okay for a while, but at some point it will overstock, sort of, and you will need to move it anywhere. So in order to do that, you have these large dumping sites, and it's nice to build them next to some extractors in order to make things easier for your drones. By the way, it is possible to use the terraforming, landscaping, terraforming, and create a ramp over here. So if you want to get easier access to this area, it can be done. It's pretty hard to do that. We can get the smallest ramp available, but it will still take a lot of time to make it right. So we can do this, and then you can do landscaping in order to get easier access to this area that kind of makes not really needed to build a drone hub so far away. I would advise you to go this route if you really want to make things efficient, but it might be slower, so sometimes things are better this way. Diminishing returns, there is an event. Those events sometimes provide you with different benefits. Right here we can kind of decline the option or accept it and request an advance or logistics aid. Depending on what do you want, you can select the different things. I kind of like the logistics aid because 150 sponsor research for me is more than 500 million funding, especially in our case. So we'll go get this. We will get a new breakthrough available for the research, which will allow us to get Spire prefabs from Earth, which are not that important, but research is very important for us, so that will help. All right, now when we decided to do some terraforming here, I think it's better to build a large dumping site next to it, so the drones can drop their waste rock over here nearby. And there we go, the ramp is ready, which makes things so much easier. So I would advise to do this instead of building the additional drone hubs. It will be useful later on anyway, but in our case, it would be better to build it on the left in order to get access to the underground metals area earlier, and that took not that long, and now we can build a water extractor right here. We don't really need it right now, but we'll do it later. All right, we need to get second rocket with specific resources and buildings before that. But the cool thing that now we can actually get our power cables down here using this ramp, hopefully. Yep, something like this. That's cool. Yeah, that will allow us to get the cable down here way easier than moving it around, so that's pretty nice. We scan the sector, we unlock additional anomaly with additional technology bonus. So let's send our RC Explorer over here. And now what you need to do, since you found the water and you can actually start extracting it pretty much right now, let's build a water extractor. First of all, let's do that. With the water extractor, you need to connect not only the power, but the pipes as well. So that will take a while to do it right. The problem is that we don't really have that many surface metals here. In order to get additional metals, we need underground metals to be harvested. It depends on the area. So let's get the second rocket in. We have 4 of those. Wow, that's a lot. And since we are getting the rocket, let's go over the rocket data. We get the cargo rocket, the passenger rocket, and supply pods. Supply pods are way too easy because you can drop them. They cost only 100 million. That's cheap. They also contain 5 metals when you disassemble them on the planet. And they can handle a little bit of resources. So usually they can be used to get some supplies that are really necessary right now. So for example, you have issues and you are lacking let's say electronics, you can send one supply pod quick and easy for pretty cheap with electronics. Or if you want to get additional, let's say explorer or commander or transport, if you didn't have it before, each of those will be able to fit into the supply pod and can be easily delivered without sending the whole rocket. You don't need to refuel it, it'll be there straight away. We can get like 2 drone hubs, for example. Let's do that. Those prefabs will come to our place and it's way easier. You don't need to refuel them and they are not that expensive. Then you can get a cargo rocket. The same as you did early on when you just started the run. You can fit wherever you want here. Right now we'll fit 2 fuel refineries here. I like additional Sterling generator. And since we don't really have that many metals on the surface, we might want to get more metals. Or what do we need in terms of the resources? Before sending the rocket, you need to make sure that you get the right things. Depending on your funding, you gotta be either balancing it really hard or not as much. At some point you will need to send the polymer factory, small machine parts factory and small electronics factory, but they has to be placed inside of the domes and they need actual people to work there. So you can't really just produce electronics or machine parts or polymers without humans over here, unless you have some specific science for that. So in our case, we have, let's take a look at the map. We will build our dome over here. We have 59 metals here. We have 43 metals there and 24 metals here. So we have a lot of metals over here that we can collect. So basically we don't really need metals right now. I think we can even send a transport to collect the metals and send them back home. So this is why you need the transport. So there is no need for us to actually send the metals from the transport. So let's just send fuel refineries. We need that. We need 1 mega Sterling generator for extra power. Right now it wouldn't be wise to send polymer factory and all that stuff yet because we don't have the dome. But we can send something that we will need. For example, more machine parts, that will be always useful, and more electronics for the upkeep. This is really important to have all that stuff available at your base at all times. Otherwise, it will end badly. If you will run out of resources for upkeep, things will start getting hairy really fast and you don't want that. In case if you don't find water near your base and you didn't restart, you can use moisture evaporators. They are pretty expensive, but they produce 1 water and fuel refinery consumes 1 water. So you might want to rely on moisture evaporators. Let's get a couple of those so I will show you how they work instead of the get into the water deposit. Alright, in our case I'll get a couple more drone hubs so we'll cover more area and maybe more drones. I'm not sure. We don't really need anything anymore. We have everything that we need. Let's get more polymers and more machine parts and electronics. That will be it for us. It's better to send the full rockets though, because they worth it way more and you can actually use up most of your funding that you have at the start if it will help you to progress faster. Just make sure that you will not run out of funds and upkeep resources at the same time, because that will be a goddamn disaster. I'll just get additional drone hub because we'll need it anyway. So let's launch this rocket and we need some time for the rockets to arrive to our new colony. Meanwhile, we will keep constructing what we are doing here. Oh my god, this is taking a while. So yeah, make sure that your transport is actually harvesting the resources so you can bring it back home afterwards and build more stuff. Now we have an event, which is the first console meeting. This is a new addition to the game and it's pretty much very close to Frostpunk idea. You have different political factions here. Each of those like their own things and you can see it by mousing over those. So our main one is Martian First. They like when we get welfare laws, have domes with the majority of Martian-born specialists, and have domes with majority of Martian-born colonists. That will be hard to get, but over time they will be okay. And basically, as you can see, you get different factions and whatever, and you can propose the laws. Early on you get only 3 laws, but later on, when you will push yourself forward, you'll be able to get way more laws, and they are pretty powerful and game-breaking. They might be rebalanced later, but right now they can break your game by being way too powerful. You can either go for open floor and listen to what the factions want. Some of those propose specific things, but some factions might not like your decisions. So for example, we want to enact sponsor research as additional sponsor research policy. That will give us more research. I like that as well. And you can mouse over voting probability to see who will like that and who will not. Everyone accepts that, and we can go for this one. That will allow us to get more research, which is nice. So let's vote for this. If you feel that you want to pass some specific law and some factions don't like it, like for example, getting extra applicants here, you can go negotiate with a faction and promise them something. Then they will vote for things that you like, and you will have to do something for them, so everyone will be happy. I actually don't have it happening that often. Most of the time they are happy with what I like. So let's get the sponsor research, how the guys want. Open floor, enact the additional sponsor research as the policy Space Y and Martian First and IMM like that. So let's vote for this. Vote passed. So some factions liked, some factions didn't like that. But in the end, that made this faction happy because we enacted the law that they wanted, offered agenda, same for Space Y, enacted additional sponsor research law. So as you can see, we pressed on IMM when there was open floor, and they liked that we picked their proposal. Even though Space Y proposal was the same, they didn't get the positive effect from that, basically. So balance those things a lot, because otherwise things might go bad. If some faction will be really unhappy, the political attitude will go up, political tension will go up, and sometimes they can get unhappy and they will cancel out some of the existing laws. They can be revoked, and you will lose some important buffs for your progression. Let's put it like that. It's pretty much random. Some factions like to repel specific laws, and there is no real way to kind of focus on that, but some factions like specific laws and some factions dislike specific laws, so depending on who you will piss off, they will retract stuff that they don't like. So now when we have this sensor tower, we can do better scanning. The areas around the sensor tower get the scan boost of several 100%. That means that those areas will be scanned way faster, so we can kind of explore easier. Let's queue up stuff around that area, which we can utilize later, and that's it. Faction opportunity. So some factions will give you a task. If you will do it within specific amount of time, you will get additional improvement from the faction, but 4 days to build a dome isn't enough, because dome construction is pretty complex. So we have self-sufficient dome by default. This is so strong. With the most factions, with the most sponsors that you pick, you don't have that. You have to build the proper stuff yourself. So for example, to build a basic dome, you will need 20 metal, 80 concrete, and 10 polymers. How is our metal harvesting going? Slowly. Right. So we will need to build it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's solve the water issue and the fuel. Don't forget that you can speed up the game, which allow you to progress through the stuff way easier. We have our supply pod being delivered, so we can land it anywhere. The thing is, that area around the rocket and around the drones is dust contamination. So if we land it next to the building, it will have its maintenance being required faster, because they will be contaminated by the landing. So try to land them somewhere where it doesn't hurt stuff too much. I will land it here because we will use those metals to build those cables. Unluckily, all we have over here are not metals but only polymers, so we can't really use that. Basically, once you land the supply pod, it will drop what it have. In our case, it's 2 prefabs, and then flip over. After that, you can't do anything with it other than salvage. That will give us some metals, and the drones will be able to pick up that metal and build the cables now. Go. There we go. Nice. All right, we have our water extractor here, and the thing with the pipes, that you will need that water being moved to the colony over here later. And also we have the rockets here. So let's build the pipes and move them up here. I prefer to move them right on top of the power cables. It feels to be like more natural, sort of. And let's say move them all the way to here. And we can use this area to produce fuel right now, which we can then load into the rockets to get them up. The thing with the rockets of this faction, that I think they kind of get the fuel automatically, because We have 12 fuel out of nowhere. Although it's still generating pretty slowly, so it doesn't really help that much. Our transport is full with metals, so let's come here and press unload and unload it somewhere in the middle of nowhere. We can unload it either in the storage or on the ground. It doesn't matter that much. The drones will take care of the rest, but it's better to unload it into the storage, I think. There we go. We get our metal here that we can use for anything. All right, we can't unload all that over here. So if the storage is full, we can unload it on the ground. Bam, bam. Come on, there we go. The drones will pick it up later, and we can send the transport to collect more metal. So now when we have the pipes, we need to construct the fuel refinery, but the fuel refinery prefabs are fine in this rocket, so not yet. Meanwhile, let's talk about science a bit more. So once we research some science, we will unlock more stuff. And this is pretty cool because additional technologies unlock as you progress the other technologies. It's sort of weird. Mostly if you progress one specific field, for example robotics, you will unlock more robotics technologies. In our case, we unlocked some other basic technologies for other fields as well, which we don't really need right now. So let's see what else we can get. Cargo space for the rockets bigger, it's pretty good. Rockets and shuttles require less fuel. This is essential. This is really good. That will allow us to save way more fuel for refineries, for refueling and everything. Generate 100 more science per each RC Explorer. This is good as well. That will give us more research for free. Then drone swarm is nice as well. Drone hubs are constructed with additional 2 drones and maximum number of drones is increased by 80. So when we build the drone hub, it already comes with basic amount of drones, and that will be more of those drones, which is always nice. Sensor towers require no power or maintenance, which is good as well. That will save a lot of, I think it costs electronics, metal. Okay, it's not that expensive, but still, it's a nice research as well. Most of the basic stuff here is really good. Amplify extractors is good, but for a bit later game when you get enough power, because right now it will cost a lot of power for a bit of production, and in most cases it won't be that great, although it's really good for water supply, for example. So our water production is 6 per water extractor. Since we don't have any other water sources, we will have to use this one, and amplifying this will allow us to get 25% more. It's something like 2 more water, which might be essential for us. So the second rocket is coming up. It has some drone hubs with it, so it doesn't matter where we place it. I'll place it at the same place over here. If you have drones with the rocket, you can place it a bit further away, so it will act as a drone hub itself for free, but we will put up infrastructure straight away. So let's let it land, and we can unload extra stuff, and we can now finally build the fuel refineries. They will consume fuel and water. As I said, one fuel refinery consumes 5 power and 1 water. So our water production, water extractor can upkeep 6 of those. But we will need some more water for the dome on the left, which we will work on right now. So once you get the fuel production going, which will be pretty easy to do right now, you need to think about the dome, because the metals that are on the ground are very limited, and once you will run out of those, things will get bad. So before that moment, you would like to make sure that you have the dome with everything in it for the colonies. So constructing the dome, usually you don't have the self-sufficient dome, because this one is very nice. It doesn't require anything. It get all the basic stuff in it. So it get the, wow, this is so good. Yeah, it gets everything. Get oxygen production, get water production. So it doesn't need any support for it, but we'll go the old school ways. There are different domes here. First one is self-sufficient one, which requires technology most of the time. Then there is a naturalist habitat that doesn't require anything as well, but it costs a lot of stuff. And then we have 3 types of domes: the basic dome, triangle dome, and barrel dome. The thing is that the basic dome is the most basic circular dome with 1 spire in the middle and 6 triangle spots for building. This is the most basic stuff. Micro dome is tiny. It gets only 3 big triangles and 3 extra slots in the middle. It's cheaper, but I don't think it's worth it. It might be good in case you have a limited amount of space and you need that dome, maybe. Barrel dome, it's bigger, but it doesn't provide a spire spot, so It's okay as well for the start, but I prefer to go with normal basic dome because we will need those spires a lot early on. And what you need to do, you need to plan ahead because you won't just build one dome. You will build several domes that are connected between them with the passages. And you would like to use those domes, first of all, in order to mine this metal. And when you build a metal mining building, it will be metals extractor. It has to be close to the dome, and there is an area around it, just the same as the rockets one, right? A bit smaller. And while the building works, it will contaminate the buildings around. So you don't want it to be close to the dome, so it will contaminate the dome with the dust. So it should be on a distance from the dome, but not too far away, because the colonists won't go there otherwise. So let's build one over here. It seems to be the perfect spot to start the building, and we can actually start mining metals after that. What we need for the dome is connection to the water and electricity. The thing is, electricity is easy, right? You just connect it directly. Bam. Almost directly. But with the water, those pipes, they carry both water and oxygen. So the thing is, you need to connect them at the specific spots at the dome, like that. Bam. So we have that thing settled up. Now we have the metals, so let's bring them back. Too early to place a dome. No, we're good. Now we need to add the drone hub. So we have this drone hub over here, right? Then we don't have any other drone hubs around. We have the rockets, but they will leave after some time. So it's better to support this area by building the drone hub that will replace the rocket, basically. And the easiest way to do it, we want to make sure that we will work with that thing at the top, is to build one over here. And now we need additional one to support this area. So it's really hard to build it right, because you would like to cover the dome area, but you don't like to overtake the empty space where you will build the domes with it. So I think something like this will do, because it's next to the mountain, and we can use this area. Yeah, that's good. And we can use this area for the storage. So storage will be here. That will be shared between the domes, between the hubs, and we need to connect it to the power as well. So now let's move our RC transport with the metals and everything over here to connect the cables, and let's move the RC commander to build the building as well. The building requires power. Of course it does. And even though you can connect the power directly through the dome, if you don't have it, it won't work. So for now, let's build the power cable sort of around it. Do we need something at the south? Not really. That we can change later on. But for now, it will be better because that dome, that hub will work better with this. So I brought RC transport with me with extra metals if we need them for the construction. There we go. We get additional console session again. So open floor, and we can select what do we want over here. Extra research as milestones policy. Seems good. Some people might not like that though, by our main faction. Let's vote and see how it will go. And it doesn't go really well. So in this case, we might want to negotiate with the guys. They want us to build a dome. That's what we're trying to do anyway, so that will do. Let's vote. And it failed because our main faction don't like that. Let's see if they will be against us because of that. No, they're okay. But we need to build a dome anyway right now, so we're on it, right? So now when everything else is ready, in order to build a dome, we need to move the RC commander in the range of concrete in our case, and the dome, so they can carry resources faster. Moreover, they said that we are not ready for the dome because we don't have supply of oxygen and water, and don't have the storage for that. So we will need to construct some things. That will be infrastructure for our living area. Let's construct it right here. I think it's a good place. So we will build oxygen tanks. 1, 2, 3 of those. Water towers. 1, 2, 3 of those. And we will need the Moxie, the oxygen generator. So let's just place it. I don't know. Let's just place it here. And we have the water already, so that should be enough to upkeep our construction procedures. Research complete. We are doing progress here. As you can see, we unlocked additional engineering tech, and we unlocked one more for the research. Decommission protocol. This is important research because it allows us to destroy the buildings that we don't like. Right now, if we'll salvage the building, its remains will stay in place, which is annoying. So that building will allow us to properly destroy the remains of the buildings and use that for parts or something. So yeah, right now all we need to do is to finish those buildings and we will get the dome ready, but that's not the end of the story. Let's make sure that we have enough resources for that. We do. And the thing is, our rocket is ready to fly, so we have enough fuel to launch it back to Earth. And early on, you can launch it straight away. Later on, you would like to make sure that you have enough rare metals ready for exports, but now we can't really even harvest them, so whatever. And there we go, it flies away. And then we will be able to use the same rocket from Earth to bring us either the colonists or more goods. In our case, we have 2 more rockets, so we don't really need that, but if we would need that, that would be the case. We're constructing the Moxie right now, so oxygen production is underway. Do we have more Stirling generators or something? Yeah, we have 1. Let's get additional Stirling generator up and running for more power, because now we have only 7 electricity production. This one isn't connected to power though. Oh yeah, because we misaligned some stuff over here, which is not nice. So it's suboptimal because you can't really build stuff next to the pipeline over here because of the cable. We'll have to fix that later. Actually, we can do it right now. We have nothing else to do anyway. So let's get the cable straight. And when this one will be completed, we'll be able to remove the cable on the right. All right, the second rocket is ready to go as well. So let's launch it. We have some drones in it. And when we launch the rocket, the drones will be like orphaned. Yeah, and they will be controlled by some drone hubs. So this is the drone hub that's controlling them right now, and it's great because this one has the most load. If we have some other hubs with the drones that we don't need, we can actually pack some of those drones and unpack them in the hub that we need them more. This is how it works. That's really cool. We have the anomaly analyzed. That's pretty close to us, so we either get the lower cost of engineering tech by 10% or exploit the deposit for deep rare metals. In our case, like, we have enough funding, I would go for reduced cost of engineering tax. Usually I would go for that because we can get more rare metals later, but for the sake of the tutorial, so we will have one deposit next to us, I'll go for exploit the deposit right now. So we unlocked one. Oh, is it? It's deep rare metal deposit, man. Yeah, go for the research most of the time. We will need shallow deposits in order to exploit them properly. So for now, we'll just go with what we have. All right, now let's add the drone swarm, so that will allow us to get more drones per hub and autonomous sensors for extra saving on the electronics. Extractor amplification might be good soon as well, so let's add it to the queue. And for now, we don't need anything else currently, so let's just wait and see what happens later. So now, while you're constructing the dome, there are not many things that you can do to make things faster. If you want to be more efficient and you have funding, you can actually order more drones from the Earth. That will be pricey. 20 drones is like 6, it's not that expensive, but they will help a lot to maintain faster production with the drones for the hubs and will allow us to carry resources more effective. Maybe get more resources in advance like polymers, machine parts and electronics. But other than that, there are not many things you can do. Since we are doing the technology for explorer science support, we can get additional explorer. And other than that, I think we can get a couple more drone prefabs and maybe... Yeah, I think it's ready to get polymer machine factory, machine parts factory and electronics factory prefabs. That will allow us to build them in the domes, and we'll be able to use them for resource production, for advanced resource production, so we won't be that dependent on Earth supplies. If we will get unlucky with the money flow, that will be our way to survive. So yeah, other than that, there are not many things you might want, so let's get a bit more of those. Machine parts, electronics, that might cost a lot, but that will last for a while now, because running out of those is really painful. We found rare metals underground deposit, that's nice. So we already have one. The thing is, it's a bit too far from our dome, so there are 2 ways how you can settle that. First one, you can build additional dome over here. You can even build something like the naturalist habitat over here that will allow workers to live here. I think it fits like 5 people or so, so it's not that huge. Micro dome might be another option, but people there won't be happy. So I would suggest building the trains. We'll talk about that a bit later. Let's connect the main... let's first talk about drone construction and the main things, and then we'll talk about that. So there we go. Our dome is completed, we get the bonuses for the faction that we promised to build the dome. I think it's this one. Upheld the faction promise, faction opportunity taken. Collecting those bonuses is really important because that will allow people, factions, to be happy long term. So yeah, so when the dome is completed, it will start consuming power, oxygen and water. We have all that, but you still need to make buildings in the domes. And this is where it's getting hard. You can't fit everything in one dome. So you will need additional dome later on in order to fulfill all the people's needs. First thing you need to do is to build a couple of living complexes. I usually go with 3 of those for the first dome because we will need some workers for the underground metals, we will need some workers for the buildings, we will need some workers for polymers factory, so that will fit a lot of workers. Then what we need to get are basic buildings. We can totally ignore nursery, playground, school and research lab for now. Although research lab helps a lot with the science, like a lot. But we will build it in the second dome. Now we need to set up the basics of resource production so we won't starve on those. Apartments is a good option, but it consumes too much power in comparison with the living complexes. And they kind of make people less comforty, so they will be less happy living there. I don't like that much. So we go to the dome services. Remember to leave one tile free over here so we can build a passage to another dome. So we will have to do something like this to another dome where they can go and do more stuff. So we will have several domes connected in one, a happy chain of domes. So yeah, what do we need from the dome services? We need, I prefer to get a small space bar. We will use this area for that, which we will kind of limit. So that tile will be built for, used for the passage, and we can fill up the rest of the stuff. Diner will be necessary for people to eat. Small grocer. The bigger grocer is better, but it takes too much space. And we will also need some building for food production as well. So yeah, let's see if we'll be able to fit more stuff. Medical post is necessary anyway, so people can get healthier. And we will need some open air gym is nice, but it takes too much space. Those buildings on the right, they are cool, but they consume way too precious resources, so we don't need them early on. So for the grocer, I think we can fit the bigger one. Yeah, let's fit the bigger grocer. It has the same amount of employees, but can fulfill more workers, and the upkeep is a bit higher, but not much different. Most of the buildings require concrete and metal to build, so they are not that expensive. Let's keep constructing. And then we really need to build decorations. They are not just for fun. They're actually helping people to chill and relax. Doesn't matter what you build. They're all kind of the same. It depends on the size. So the 3-sized one costs 3 concrete or not. I'm not really sure. I just go with whatever I feel like. So the visitors is kind of the same depending on the size. The bigger one, like the large garden, will fit 10 people, but we don't have space for that. So let's get the small garden and maybe a pond over here for now, right? And once all that will be completed, we will have pretty much everything we need for the basic dome. For now, let's change the power cable connection so we can connect to this building from the bottom area, because we'll be using... Oh, we don't have access to this area, right? Yeah, we can't build there. That area is off limits. That's sad. So let's just wait for those buildings to complete. And once they're done, we can start working on the metal extractor so we can actually get the metals, which would help us drastically. We can build it straight away. It doesn't really matter. And we need to start getting the passenger rockets. So with the passenger rockets, it's even more complicated because you have a variety of people that can come to your place, and there are a lot of things that are affecting the people. So the thing is, you can kind of cherry pick the people. We have one genius. That's really good. Geniuses will allow us to get science, yeah, 150 I think. And we have the quirks. Some of those are weird, some of those are okay-ish, but the worst one is vegan for us right now, because vegans, they are okay later on when we only get farms, but early on we will have the other type of food production buildings from animals, and they don't like that a lot. So yeah, but that's a really good source of food. So yeah, then we will need specializations. For us right now, we will need geologists for the mines. We will need botanists for the farms, but we don't have farms yet, so whatever. We will need one medic. We will need some engineers for the engineering buildings that produce stuff. And we will need no specialization people for the rest of the works in the domes and everything in the stores. So let's try to fill empty seats. That will allow us to get the people who are... Which one of those is genius? We would like to keep the genius in. Because, like, right now, I don't want botanists. I don't want... We want only one medic. I don't want officers. They are not needed right now. And I don't want sign. I'm happy with geologists and engineers. Let's fill empty seats. So we have a lot of geologists and engineers. Genius is geologist, so we're good. I think we can get rid of engineers for this lounge because we will need to build a second dome for them. One mine, I think it settles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2, 10 geologists. So let's add more of those. We can select applicants from the left by hand picking them. And honestly, most of those things are okay. So there are not many negative effects that are really bad. So yeah, only thing I would advise is not picking seniors and try to focus more on youth or adults, because those guys, they will live longer. Middle-aged, they will kind of be retired soon and they can't really work after that. So yeah, but it's okay. We can handle that. So yeah, let's get more geologists. We will need more of them anyway later. So let's get 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, 10 geologists and 2 random no spec guys, because it doesn't matter. Let's launch the rocket. We can get a couple of rockets like that. And it's better to wait for everything to be constructed, but this thing will grow fast. By the time the rocket will arrive, they will already be... The building will be ready, so we can get the second rocket as well. I wonder how many people work there. I forgot. 4 per shift, so we need 8 geologists for the metals extractor and 8 geologists for rare metals extractor. That will be there, but that will be later. So for now, we just need 8 geologists, and the rest of them can be whoever we want. So what I want to do right now, while that stuff is being constructed, we will salvage this cable. It still works, but it's not connected to the same power grid. So it's now called split power grid. It's not great because if this building will be disconnected, we will have issues. But, you know, it's not that bad. We can handle that for now. We will fix it later. There we go. The buildings are almost complete. Do we have the common storage here for concrete and everything? Yeah. Okay, we have the rocket with drones and equipment coming up. And as you can see, if we land it here, the buildings will be contaminated with dust. You don't want that. So land it a bit further away. It can be solved later by building the landing pod. It's pretty cheap, it takes 10 concrete, but early on it's not really needed. So yeah, I forgot to build a building for the food. It's in the life support and we can build a range for that. I feel that range is a really good building for the food production because it produces a lot of food, and prior to moving to better food sources, that would be the best option. And anyone can work there, you don't need botanists, and it produces a lot of food. The cool thing with the laws, when they want to prepare some specific law, this is easy to do and we will need to do it anyway, so the laws can be prepared and then they can be voted on later. And it's better to pick the preparation offers because that will make the faction happy, I think. So let's try to prepare exploration law, alright? And yeah, that will make them happier. I'm not sure about that, but I do it most of the time. So yeah, we have the first dome pretty much ready, but it won't be enough for everything that we need. Right now, we can take it slow and wait for the people to settle in, then get another dome, so we won't really hurry up too much, but I don't have time for that. Let's just create the second dome nearby and connect it via the pipes, and let's put it engineering buildings here, right? So let's put it here. We can get several domes connected like that. It's better not to put them too close. I'd advise to get at least 1, 2, 3 tiles between them. That will allow us to properly get the passages right with the passages ramp and everything. Otherwise, like our drones won't be able to move between them. And faction opportunity, our main faction want to build a Martian assembly in the dome over here, which will be problematic. We have our first rocket with the colonies. Let's land it, let's say here. It doesn't matter that much. And I think we need to build a second concrete mine. We don't really need it that much. And it's better not to do that because it will cost additional maintenance. If you are sure about your production, sure. I'm not. So I'd prefer to take it slow early on. We have people joining in. Here they are. Going in, and those guys will start working in all those buildings. This one is ready to go. Yeah, let's go. So when your first colonists arrive, you can go through the founder stage. Founder stage will be completed if the colonists survive to the end of the timer, or if a child is born in the colony, meaning the conditions in the colony are good enough. That's pretty easy to do. Ooh, they bring so much food with them. Why we have 107 food? That's weird. All right, I think they brought too much food. Yeah, crazy. Usually they don't bring that much. So basically, the range will be the building that will allow us to produce food. Let's help with the construction and collect the... Oh, there's no concrete over there. Collect the concrete from this storage and move it closer to the building so we can get the second basic dome ready faster. And the passageway, you can't build it unless the dome is constructed, so you gotta wait. While we are doing the domes, we're still progressing on the research, and it's pretty linear right now. We got the basic technologies here and there. We get amplifiability. We don't really use turbines right now because we get really powerful other sources of power, and honestly wind turbines are pretty good, but they are costly in the maintenance, so try not to go too far with that. Let's get low G drive that will allow our drones to move faster, and drone hub will allow us to actually produce those things here on Mars without importing the drone hub prefabs. How many more do we have? We have 4 more. My god, that's crazy. All right, metals extractor is complete, and the thing with the metal extractor that you have 1 shift, but you can activate the second shift. And I usually do that because it allows us to work for longer. The first shift is 6 to 14 hours, which is 4 plus 4, 8 hours. The second shift is 14 to 22 hours, which is, I think, 8 additional hours. Then we have the night shift. Now that one is driving people crazy. We don't need it, but 2 shifts is completely okay. And that will allow us, oh yeah, I forgot to connect it to the power. And that will allow us to double the output of metal. So if we have enough workers for that, running 2 shifts is completely okay in most buildings. Ranch, this is where we produce food, and the best way to do that is to produce turkey. This is like easy way out. If you have food for 5 years, switch to turkey straight away. That will allow you to get way more food per cycle, and that's the most efficient way of producing food early on. Later on you'll have to go for farms, but this is more advanced stuff. You don't need it to set up your base and make everything work properly. So right now we have the production of metals, we have the production of concrete, of food. All we need... Ooh, meteor shower. I hope they won't hit our base. This one is ready to... no, there are food aboard the launch sequence. We can't launch that yet. Since we get that much food in the rocket and we can't unload it, we need to build a depot for food specifically. That will allow us to store that resource over here and, unload the rocket, because we'll need it later anyway. And that will allow us to actually have it as storage for extra stuff. Desired amount is how much you would like to be stored at this building. If it's at 0, it will store all extra resources that are not needed anywhere else. We actually need to get more population here. So, since we have the blueprints for various buildings, polymer factory, small electronics factory, machine factory, we will build them in the second dome, we can start getting people in with various professions. Passenger rocket. We can't! Oh, so we gotta finish the founder stage first. Okay, that will take a while. There is one way around it though. You can go and do the founder stage skipping option. Some factions won't like that and they will remember that for long. So it's better to do it manually. Like, it doesn't require that much. It's only 8 days. We're at day 11 already. And we can still build the second dome. Meanwhile, we have production of everything by default. That's why you would like to bring people for the mine straight away. Just make sure that they have enough comfort. Otherwise, they will be unhappy. With the lows, sometimes it's better to go for something that you don't need that much to make people happy. Because our main faction is unhappy already. That is not great. Domes with majority of Earthborn colonies, of course they are. They're just coming over. So let's vote for extra exports. Everyone is happy about that. And that will make the factions happier. This one is content right now. And we still get the bonuses from those milestones for export prices, which is great as well. The only thing I'm worried right now that we don't have all the workers in all the buildings, and that will make colonists a bit sad. So only because of that you might turn on off the second shift, so those people will work inside of the main dome, so everyone will be happy, because otherwise it might go down pretty fast. And look at that, we found another underground metal deposit, which is great. So we are good in terms of metals for a while. The only problem, we don't have that many exotic metals that we will have to export, and we have only one deposit on the right. So we will have to reach that through the trains later. There we go. The second dome is complete. The first thing we would like to do is to create the passage over there. As simple as that. And then we need to make the passage ramp over the passage. But we need to complete the passage first. I don't want to build stuff there right now because it's expensive. It takes upkeep. And we still have 6 days in our founder stage, so not fantastic. Let's just skip the founder stage altogether for the sake of the tutorial. Usually you would like to wait for that, but I don't have the patience. Let's go. We're done. Someone is against it. Whatever. So now we can get more population here. So we can get the rockets with the passengers going in. Specialization. We want scientists as well. Not that many though. Engineers, geologists. We don't need geologists right now. We just need scientists and engineers. We can get loads of engineers, which is hilarious. Let's try to make more even contribution. No specialization. Let's remove the scientists manually. Geologists as well. Medic. We need the medic. Actually, we need one more medic, I think. And get more engineers. It doesn't matter. We will get a lot of people joining us right now. So we will launch this rocket. We will skyrocket our production here. Basically, you would like to do what I'm doing right now a bit slower, but since I'm too lazy to wait, we will do it right now. So those factories, they will produce resources for us, the premium resources. Life support is negative because we don't have water, I guess. We need to connect it to water as well, which I forgot to do. I wonder if we can do it like that. I think so. Right. And inside of this building, we will have those production buildings. We have the polymers factory that will be, I don't know, just, it needs to be connected to water, so it should be close, somewhere here, so the guys can go work there. Moreover, we will construct more housing over there because we will need more people. Let's build one apartment complex. I hope we'll have enough power for all that. Probably not. We will need a research lab for science production. And then we can kind of use this one as a hub and construct additional dome on the right or something connected as well. So this can be central area, but people, when they go from one area to another to work, they will lose some efficiency. Not much, but they will still lose it. So it's not really advisable to do it too much, so it should have some living space over here. So let's build an apartment building here. Anyway, we will need more electricity. Let's see what we can do with that. We have the wind turbine, but we have advanced wind turbine as well. And we have the solar panels. Solar panels by default are not that great, but they are cheap maintenance in terms of the iron, so it's okay. The problem is they turn off at night. I prefer to get a couple of large wind turbines. The thing is they get additional production for elevation boost, so building them higher is better. Something like this. But we don't have that opportunity right now. Let's just place them somewhere where it's safe to produce a bit of extra power. Let's build, we can build 2 of those, right? Yeah, that will do. That will give us extra power 24/7. And also it would be nice to get some accumulators for extra power if our storage, if our output will go down. Also, in case if things will go sideways, we can always open this thing and get double production. It goes the same for normal Stirling generators, so not only advanced ones. So yeah, keep it in mind. Once all the buildings are constructed, you can actually see the requirements of your population, what kind of specialization do you need. I'm not sure if the game gives you specific units that you need, but getting more people is usually useful because as you grow population, that will allow you to do way more stuff. They will breed and kind of get kids. Those will be Martian born, which get some benefits later on from the research. And overall you can manage more buildings. So we have this building with one work shift, polymer factory, and we have this one with one work shift. So we will actually need those guys to get in to launch everything with double shifts. That will increase our production quite a lot, because right now single shifts are not that great. There we go, double shifts everywhere. That means that we have 38 vacant work slots. So passenger rocket, let's see, we need 21 engineers. So now we can easily go to specialization engineer and say yes to them, fill empty spots, and all those people will find their job over here. So we get the research lab, double shifts as well, of course. Apartments is under construction. Our resources are good. Our power is negative, but those things will solve that. And the problem with the negative power when you don't have batteries, you don't have time to fix that. So let's open one of the Stirling generators for now, while we're constructing this. We have plenty of concrete over here. It's just not being transported to this area fast enough. If we will build no, it still won't be available. I thought maybe if we will build concrete mine over here, it will do, but not really. Spy tech. We can spend money in this event. I never had this event before. We can do it to steal technologies from others. Let's pay premium because we have money. I'm curious what will happen. Usually I wouldn't do this. You have unlocked breakthrough technology. All right, that's good. That's worth it. Which one? Oh, we have it already by default. Reduce the cargo weight of drones and RC vehicles by 100%. So they don't weight anything and we can deliver them easier. Let's get more colonists. Yeah, they deliver a lot of food with them, so that's pretty dope. Just keep in mind that your food consumption, food production should be kind of in check. So there we go, we're getting more colonists coming in and things will get way better. So at this point, when we have the colonists, it's nice to go for social research to get engineers and geologists performance and maybe scientists and botanists performance. Other than that, rocket cargo space increase not really needed, decommission protocol maybe. So basically you can adjust the science technologies that you go for as you need. Spires, we don't need spires, so screw that. We don't have power again. We have too many buildings. Let's open this to get even more power. Yeah, we will need those wind turbines for the power. So the thing is, right now, when all the buildings are working and we have all the people over here, we get production of electronics, of machine parts, of polymers. That will allow us to kind of survive way better on Mars. Let's see, what do they want? Intact heavy mining is heavy mining policy. This is good enough for us. So from this point onwards, you can actually manage your colony yourself because you get production of metals, concrete, machine parts, electronics, polymers, fuel, everything. The only thing that you lack is resources that you can export, so funds generation from rare metals. In order to do that, you will need to build a goddamn train, which is a very long and tedious process, so I won't cover it in this video. I have the playthrough where we cover trains over there. The quick hint for you will be for the trains, you can build it. I will show you how it works. Train station next to the dome. It's important to build it next to the dome, something like this. Then the train station next to the deposit and deposit mining building. We have a lot of milestones and people are really happy. Connect them with the track. As you can guess, construction will take a while. Tracks are really wonky, so yeah, it's really annoying. If you make a mistake, you have to start over. So alright, connect them with the track, as I said. Well, we're not doing that anyway, so whatever. Bam. And then you can construct the mine over here, rare metals extractor. There we go. And the people will take train from the colony to work in the mine and back. But you need to supply this area with power and everything. So in order for it to work, you need to connect the power cables. Connect them all the way to our power grid. All right. So that will do the trick for us if we don't want to build a second dome over there. And it consumes a lot of resources. And then again, we need to build the power lines, which are outside of reach. So we need to build additional, how's it called? Additional drone hubs somewhere here, which will cover both of those buildings. Something like this is weird. Let's place it, I don't know, here, I guess. Yeah. And still need to build this track, so it's a bit annoying. You have to use the transport with metals or concrete. I'm not sure. You will need to use the resources to make sure it all works. The tracks can be constructed from far away, I think, so I'm not sure how it's maintained. Never had issues with that. But this one is outside with the drawing command range, so it sucks. We could build it inside though. Actually, let's try it. Wait, this is ugly as hell. Alright, let's build it. So I'm curious if we need to actually place tracks inside of the range of our maintenance drones, because usually, like before that, every time I tried, it wasn't necessary. I mean, it was still inside of the range anyway, but it never required any maintenance or something. So I'm curious if that's what we actually need right now. Be mindful that the track construction is like construction of the entire track, so the drones from everywhere will try their best to do that. If you don't want all the drones to be busy on that, you can lower its priority a bit, because the guys, they absolutely love to work on the track and it takes a while to build that. Alright, another thing, we researched polymer blade upgrades that make wind turbines even more efficient, so it's better to do this with them to increase efficiency, and we can close this thing. And yeah, it works. You just need to construct terrain after that, and the guys can go to this rare metal mine to work, and the resources will be delivered through this train station. You can actually enable and disable the resources that can be stored here as well, and use it as a base for expansion later on as well. Okay, that's pretty cool. You can point over trains to see the amount of available trains and trains on the connected tracks. Right now we have the limit of 2 trains for this track, so we can get more. And it will actually move guys here to work and out afterwards. That will allow us to produce rare metals that can be exported and that are necessary for small electronics factory to produce electronics as well. So now we have all that we need for the full functional Martian colony, and from here you can expand however you want. This is the pure basics that you can set up. It took me 2 hours to set up everything from the scratch. You can use different power sources, you can adjust the guide however you see fit, but I think this is the best way. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about the water production. It's pretty simple, not much to talk about here. Moisture evaporators, they produce water, and you can stack them quite a lot, quite easily. So you can build one over here and the next one in the range next to it. So this range around them, it should include other moisture evaporator for maximum efficiency. Something like this will allow them to work really well. Let's construct them. Each of those produces 1 water at the cost of 2 metal maintenance. I think it's a good trade-off because the water is really scarce and this is a really good way to get extra water. And you can extend it later with additional technologies. If you put one in the middle or somewhere within the range of other evaporators, the water production will be lower, so I don't recommend doing that. Just place them around like that, and that will be good enough for your extra water production. Really nice. So yeah, even if you are unlucky with the colony without water, right now we have only 1 water source, another one is pretty far away. You can rely on those little guys for extra water production. Moreover, long term, I think it's a better way because it doesn't have the limit of water. Like, it's always there and it never exhausts its resources. The only issue is maintenance, but you know, it's something that you have to endure anyway. That's another reason why you don't want to build multiple solar panels, like build a huge solar panel area, because the maintenance can be pretty high without additional technologies and additional investment, and that will eat up a lot of your metal and your drone production. So yeah, that's how you build a colony in Survival Mars Relaunched. I hope this guide was useful for you. Don't forget to check out the playlist for the rest of the playthrough and the guides. Like the video and subscribe to the channel for YouTube algorithm, and thank you very much for watching. It's been Stan Kosh. Have a good one. Bye.